At the end of our CPU video, we promised you this, because picking the right processor and then pairing it with the wrong RAM is one of the most common and most expensive mistakes in PC building. You can lose up to 20% of your CPU's gaming performance from a single bad decision that costs you nothing extra to avoid. We're covering every RAM spec that matters in plain English with the benchmarks to prove it, right now. Chapter 1: Capacity and the Page File Trap. RAM capacity determines how much active data your CPU can access instantly. The moment you run out, your system doesn't crash, it does something worse. It starts using your SSD as a slow, temporary memory overflow pool. That's called page filing, and it is the direct cause of those brutal mid-game stutters that no amount of graphics settings adjustment will fix. The numbers. 16 gigabytes is the absolute bare minimum for modern gaming and general desktop use. It'll get you through, but with Discord open, a browser running, and a modern AAA title loaded, you're already brushing the ceiling. 32 gigabytes is the current sweet spot. It gives you genuine headroom. Game running, browser open, stream in the background, no page filing, no compromise. One critical clarification: more RAM beyond what you're actively using does not increase frame rates. It does not make your GPU faster. It solely prevents the performance cliff that hits when you run out. Capacity is about avoiding disaster, not chasing numbers. Chapter 2: Generations, DDR4 versus DDR5. DDR stands for double data rate. Data transfers happen on both the rising and falling edges of the clock signal, which is how it achieves double the throughput of a standard clock cycle. Right now, the market is split between DDR4 and DDR5. And here's the hard rule: your motherboard is physically locked to one generation. DDR5 cannot slot into a DDR4 board. The key notch, the physical gap in the connector, is positioned differently by design. There is no adapter, there is no workaround. DDR5 isn't just faster DDR4, the architecture changed. Power management moved off the motherboard and onto a chip built directly into the RAM module itself, called a PMIC. And each DDR5 stick splits into two independent 32-bit subchannels, which changes how the memory controller communicates with it fundamentally. If you're building new today, DDR5 is the platform. If you're upgrading an existing DDR4 system, stay on DDR4. The generational jump requires a new motherboard, which changes the entire cost equation. Chapter 3: Transfer Speed, MTS versus MHZ. This is where marketing has been quietly misleading buyers for years. RAM speed is accurately measured in megatransfers per second, not megahertz, not MHZ. The industry uses MHZ in advertising because consumers recognize it, but it's technically incorrect and it creates real confusion. Because RAM is double data rate, a kit marketed as 6,000 MHz is actually running at a physical clock speed of 3,000 MHz. It completes 6,000 transfers per second by operating on both clock edges, but the underlying oscillator is running at half that number. The 6,000 is the transfer rate, not the clock speed. Now here's the practical number that actually governs your build. Your CPU internal memory controller sets the ceiling. AMD's Ryzen 7000 series, for example, has a memory controller optimized for 6,000 MTS. Push beyond that, and you hit ratio penalties and stability issues that can actually reduce real-world performance even as the spec sheet number climbs. Match the controller. Don't blindly chase the highest advertised speed. Chapter 4: CAS latency, the missing secret. Speed gets all the attention. Latency is what actually separates good RAM from great RAM. CAS latency, CL, measures the exact number of clock cycles between the memory controller requesting data and the RAM placing that data on the output pins. Unlike transfer speed, where higher is better, lower CL numbers mean faster response.
But raw CL numbers without context are meaningless. The real metric is true physical latency in nanoseconds, and it's calculated directly from the relationship between transfer speed and CAS latency. Faster transfer speeds tighten that nanosecond number even at the same CL rating. Slower transfer speeds stretch it. Here's a real-world example that matters for your purchase. A 6000 MT per S kit at CL30 will deliver meaningfully better 1% low frame rates than a 6400 MT per S kit at CL40. The faster kit on the box is actually slower where it counts, response time. That shows up as smoother gameplay, better frame pacing, and fewer hitches. When you're comparing kits, calculate the true latency yourself. Take the CAS latency, divide it by the MT per S transfer speed, and multiply by 2000. That gives you the exact delay in nanoseconds. Lower result wins. We'll put the formula on screen right now. If that formula just saved you from buying the wrong RAM, hit subscribe. We do this for every PC component on the channel. Chapter 5. Dual Channel, the #1 builder mistake. This one is free performance that thousands of builders leave on the table every single day. Dual channel memory doubles the total bandwidth pathway between your RAM and your CPU. Instead of one 64-bit lane, you get two, running simultaneously. The CPU's memory controller feeds from both sticks at once. Here's the mistake: buying one 32GB stick instead of two 16GB sticks to save a slot for later. That single stick forces your system into single-channel mode. In CPU-bound gaming scenarios, which is exactly the 1080p high refresh rate gaming where your CPU matters most, single-channel can bottleneck performance by up to 20%, not 2%, 20. Two sticks, matched pair, same kit. That's it. One installation detail that trips up a lot of first-time builders. Dual channel doesn't engage just because two sticks are installed. They must be in the correct slots. Almost universally, slots 2 and 4 on a standard ATX motherboard, not slots 1 and 2. Check your motherboard manual. The slots are labeled. This is a 30-second fix that recovers 20% of your CPU's gaming headroom. Chapter 6. XMP and eExpo. Enable this or you wasted your money. You bought a 6000 MT per S DDR5 kit. You installed it correctly in slots 2 and 4. You boot up and check your RAM speed, and it says 4800 MT per S. This is not a defect. This is by design and catches almost every first-time builder off guard. All high-speed RAM ships defaulting to slow baseline JEDEC specifications. Out of the box, DDR5 runs at 4800 MT per S, regardless of what the box advertises. The advertised speed is technically an overclock, and it requires manual activation. That activation comes from a profile stored on a small chip on the RAM stick itself. Intel calls it XMP, Extreme Memory Profile. AMD calls it EXPO, Extended Profiles for Overclocking. Same concept. The RAM manufacturer ran stability testing at the advertised speed, saved those validated settings to the stick, and you unlock them with a single toggle in your BIOS manager. One setting takes 30 seconds. The difference between running at 4800 MT per S and running at 6000 MT per S is not subtle. It's the difference between RAM you paid for and RAM you're actually using. Go into your BIOS, enable XMP or eExpo, save and exit, done. It is literally one toggle. Capacity prevents the page file cliff. Generation locks you to your platform. Transfer speed is MT per S, not megahertz, and your CPU's memory controller sets the real ceiling. CAS latency determines true response time, and tight timings beat raw speed. Dual channel is free performance that a single slot choice can destroy. And XMP or eExpo is the switch that makes every other spec on this list actually apply to your build. That's every RAM spec that matters. You now know more than most people who've been building PCs for a decade. Next up, GPU specs. We'll drop it when it's ready and not a minute before. Unlike your RAM, we don't ship at default speeds.